welcome to this month's edition of Sounds from Scotland. I'm Camilla Hellman, and it's my great pleasure to be able to introduce and have join me today Alan Beck, who is the president of the Robert Burns World Federation, the organization that is ensuring and promoting the legacy of Robert Burns for all of us around the world. And in this program today, we're going to be hearing some music from you of Burns that you've just been recording with Alan Craig. And it's only just been finished. You've been in the recording studio, you said, until just a few weeks ago.
It's actually only just been composed. And so it was hot off the presses. And Alan and I went into recording studio and recorded these arrangements of Robert Burns songs. Alan has been accompanying me for many, many years. And he's always said to me that he feels the accompaniments for some traditional Scottish songs aren't interesting enough, certainly for him as a composer. So he has composed a series of 10 new arrangements of Burns songs. One of them, however, has never been a song. It's only ever been a poem. And it's the address to a haggis, which Robert Burns, of course, wrote about that famous piece of Scottish food. And for your viewers who have been to Burns suppers, you'll have seen the haggis being assaulted, I suppose, before it's served up. It takes a dagger into it, it's cut up, and then it's served out, and the virtues of the haggis are extolled. But that's only ever in poetry. And Alan decided that he would like to actually compose a melody to this particular poem and then arrange it. And so that's, for me, is one of the very interesting things about it. I'm certainly, as far as I know, I'm the first person to ever sing the address to the haggis.
And so let's now hear from Alan Beck and Alan Craig.
Son's face, great chieftain o' the Puddin race, up in them all ye take your place, paint stripe or firm, where are ye worthy o' a grace as lang's my arm? The groaning trencher there ye fill, your heart is like a distant hill. Your bin would help to mend a mill in time o' need, while through your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife see rustic labour dashed, and cut ye up where red is slashed, trenching your groaning entrails breast like ony ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sixth while reeking rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal tack the hindmost on they drive, till all their wheel swelled planks belive are bent like drums. Then all good men mislight to rive be thanked arms. Is there that our his French ragout, or olio would stow a sou, or fricassee would make her spew with perfect scunner, looks down with sneer and scorn for view on sick a dinner. Poor devil, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a weathered rash. His spindle shoik, a good whiplash, his leave a knit, through bloody flood of field to dash. Oh, how unfit! the rustic haggis fed. The trembling earth resounds his tread. Clap in his walling eve a blade, he'll mak it whistle. And legs and ends and heats will sned like taps of thistle. He powers for mock mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. Old Scotland wants nae stinking ware that jumps in loggies. But if you wish her great for bread, gie her a haggis.
Alan, it's all the songs of Burns, all the words of Burns mean so much to all of us around the world at this time. What do you think it is that gives Robert Burns this legacy of over 240 years, that we are enthralled and feel drawn back to Scotland by the power of his lyrics?
Well, the lyrics are so good. That's the first thing. But certainly for me personally, the lyrics are, or the poems are full of empathy. They are full of understanding. The way that Burns describes the environment in which he lived, the way he describes nature, the way he describes love, and in fact lost love, really speaks to the human condition. Secondly, I think that for Scots, whether you are in Scotland or whether you are of Scottish descent and you live abroad, I think that Robert Burns helps to connect you to Scotland. It helps to give an idea, a feeling of what it is like to be a Scot. Robert Burns was one of the main figures of Scottish nationality that people took abroad with them when they emigrated to the New World in the 19th century. They may have taken a bit of tartan, they may have taken their whiskey distilling skills with them, but they took Robert Burns and they took his poetry. And so he's just so associated now with Scotland that no matter where you are and you hear Burns and you hear the Scots language in his songs and in his poetry, it does connect you, and it transports people back to their memories of their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, or even the time that they performed or learned something Scottish. It could even be someone doing a Highland dance. They may have had Highland dance lessons. They may have been to clan associations. They may have been to Highland Games. They may even be members of the American Scottish Foundation. But this helps them think about Scotland, and it connects them and it grounds them with Scotland. So Burns is more than just a poet. He's a figure who actually helps to connect us to each other.
Let's hear another song from you, because we've known each other for many years, since when you were performing over here with the Scottish Free Tenors, Caledon. And so let's hear another wonderful song from you with Alan Craig. that was a great recording of A Fond Kiss. Thank you, Alan, for sharing that with us. And we're looking forward to learning from you when we'll be able to purchase, download this wonderful album of 10 songs. But moving forward, you're now in the middle of burn season. How long is it for you? How many burn suppers are you attending?
I'm doing them far and wide up and down the country, let me tell you. So, yeah, it's a very busy time. But you know what? To propose the immortal memory to Robert Burns is a tremendous honour for any patriotic Scot, because it really is something which means a lot to the people of Scotland, Robert Burns. So I'm absolutely delighted to do it. I also sing at the Burns suppers. I mean, my immortal memory includes sections of songs, but I've actually been singing at Burns suppers since, believe it or not, since I was 11. So I'm also singing at some Burns suppers this year where I'm also speaking. So it's going to be very busy, but it's something I very much enjoy doing. I really enjoy it.
I'm very glad, and I think everybody should be excited by the prospect of that they now can become an American friend to the Robert Burns World Federation, because what you do to give grants and help smaller Burns organizations around the world is fantastic. And this will be a way to help you to be doing that. And American friends can do so by going to our website and becoming involved. And I'm so proud that we're able to be involved in that way. And we'll put those details up so people can see it.
You know, Camilla, I was talking before about how Robert Burns helps to connect. Organizations like the ASF are doing just that. They're helping to connect people with Scottish interests. And the whole idea about the Burns Federation being set up in the first place was actually to connect people who had interests in Scotland through a love of Burns, and to create a place in Scotland to do that. The fact now that that message has spread all over the world is absolutely wonderful for us. And I've no doubt that when the ASF would have been set up to help Scots and to help them to keep a sense of their Scottishness, I've no doubt that a lot of those people were still interested in Scotland generations perhaps after their ancestors had left, because they still thought of Scotland as tartan and kilts and Burns and whiskey, you know, that sort of thing. So it's wonderful for us to be involved with the American Scottish Foundation.
Thank you. We were set up by the person who's behind me, Lord Malcolm Douglas Hamilton, who had begun the Highland Fund when he'd been in the UK, in Scotland, in the UK, and he'd been a member of Parliament for Inverness, and he felt he could do more by working directly through the Highland Fund. And when he came here, the Highland Fund was over in the United States, and we grew out of that to be this bridge. So I think he'd be delighted that we're doing this, because they always held Burns suppers when he and Lady Natalie Douglas Hamilton were looking after the foundation and heading it up and spearheading us on. And so we're very honoured to keep the tradition going and to work so closely with you now, because that's what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
And so thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful burn season right the way through to March. We'll see you in New York in April for the Tartan Day Parade and all the festivities going on, and to talking with you soon.
Lovely to see you, and I look forward to being over at the celebrations for Tartan Day. It's a marvellous thing to be involved in.
Thank you.
Scots wha hae wi Wallace bled, Scots wha Bruce has often led, welcome to your glory bed, or to victory. Now's the day and now's the hour, see the front battle long. See approach proud Edward's power, chains and slavery. War will be a traitor knave, war can fill a coward's grave. Was he base as be a slave, let him turn and flee. War for Scotland's king and law, freedom sought will strongly draw. Free man stand or free man fall, let him follow me. Woes and pains, by our sons in servile chains, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurper low, tyrants fall in every foe, liberties in every blow, let us do our deed.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Sounds from Scotland segment where I give you my highlight of the month as a traditional Scottish song or a modern Scottish song which has caught my interest and I've been listening to over the course of the month. This month's a very, very special edition as it's Burns Night, and we are celebrating our Burns Night on the 20th of this month in New York City at the University Club. So very exciting time, very exciting month, always is at the start of the year as we get to celebrate Burns and Scottish heritage with whiskey and haggis and Scots song and poetry. So one of my favourite songs by Robert Burns, or poems by Rob Burns, which became a song adaptation, is Green Grow the Rashies O. So a very, very special song which talks about the life of man and how people often end up chasing all these things in the horizon and think things that you may get to in life and things you might not get to in life, but people make it their be all and end all, and they make their whole life about it, and eventually when you get to the end you find out that there's a whole lot more and you've not been able to enjoy what you've had and you've not been able to enjoy the thing that you've set your whole life on getting because it's too late ultimately. So that's one of the interpretations I've heard of it, and I think that's quite beautiful, especially these days. And Burns Night every year, whenever I hear Green Grow the Rashies O, certainly reminds me of that and kind of makes me take a step back and think about things a little bit deeper. So Burns is very good at that. Burns is very provocative. This rendition of his poem is by Dougie MacLean, who obviously is very, very famous and needs no introduction in the Scottish community. This is at Celtic Connections about 7 years ago. So enjoy Dougie MacLean's rendition of Green Grow the Rashies O, originally by Robert Burns. And everybody have a great Burns Night. Cheers to you. Slán Java.
There's naught but care on every hand, and every hour that passes, oh, it signifies the worth, oh man, and 'twas nae for the lassies, oh. Green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh. The sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. Oh, that's what we sing a bit louder. Green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh. The sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. Oh, the worldly race may riches chase, and riches still may fly them. Oh, and when at last they catch them fast, their hearts can ne'er enjoy them. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. Oh, give me a canty hurricane, my arms about my dearie. Oh, and worldly cares and worldly men may all get topsy-turvy. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. Oh, there's naught but care on every hand, in every hour that passes. Oh, it signifies the worth, oh man, and 'twas nae for the lassies. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. I'm gonna sing it on your own. Try it. Go on. Green. One more time. Green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent were spent among the lassies. Oh,
Now let's go to our favorite segment, catching up with our youth ambassador, Cameron Steer, as he learns how to play the bagpipes.
Hello and welcome back to Sounds from Scotland. Welcome actually to the first Sounds from Scotland for 2023. I'm Cameron Steer and I'm learning the bagpipes. I've actually learned over the course of the last month or so that I was learning it the wrong way around. So I was using my right hand as my top hand instead of my left hand as my top hand. So effectively over like the Christmas period and New Year period, I've gone back to the drawing board and I started learning again the other way. So now I basically know the basic scale. Back to the drawing board. I also had a bit of an issue with my reed and my chanter, so I think I fixed it. I'm excited to see if it's going to hold up here. So bear with me again. Apologies for the wheezing sounds you're about to hear. But this is going to be me playing the basic scale the correct way, with the correct finger positioning, which I've talked about being very important in the past. So here we go. So that's the basic scale just there. Probably the cleanest one I've done so far today at least. So yeah, I'll keep going with that to give you another couple goes of that. But this is good. This is a big step in, I suppose, with any instrument, mastering a basic scale, or any guitar. When I learned guitar, it was pentatonic scales. I suppose this is really good to nail. So I'm happy that I've managed to switch back over to doing my left hand. Spoke too soon. I think there's something up my reed as well, so if someone can let me know in the comments if it's still done and needing replaced, let me know. I'm hoping to join a pipe band in the Finger Lakes actually some point soon, so keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. That'll be fun. That's the one. I'm very happy with that.
As Alan noted earlier, burn season will be a celebration of many weeks, so we wish everyone good health, good song, and to enjoy all the haggis and songs of Burns. Now, let us join Noisemaker, who will be joining us for our Burns Night celebration later this week, to hear their tribute.
I'm Claire Mackenzie and I'm a composer, and alongside Scott Gilmore, we are Noisemaker, a musical theatre writing partnership based and currently broadcasting to you from Glasgow in Scotland. So here is a selection of our favourite Burns poetry and song.
My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the North, the birthplace of valour, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands forever I love. Farewell to the mountains, high covered with snow. Farewell to the straths and green valleys below. Farewell to the forests and wild hanging woods. Farewell to the torrents and loud pouring floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, a-chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go.
A fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in headstrong tears, I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans, I'll wage thee. Fare thee weel, thou first and fairest. Fare thee weel, thou best and dearest. Thine be ilka joy and treasure, peace, enjoyment, love, and pleasure.
Wee sleekit, coor and timorous beastie, oh what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou needna start a wassy hasty wi' bicker and brattle. I would be laith to rin and chase thee wi' murder and battle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. Thy wee bit hoosie too in ruin, it's siller wha the winds are strewing, and naething now to big a new un of foggage green, and bleak December's winds ensuing baith snell and keen. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee mony a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out, and for thy trouble, but hoose and hold, to thole the winter's sleety dribble, and crinreich cold. But Moussie, thou art no that lane, in proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang after gley, and leave us naught but grief and pain for promised joy. Still thou art blessed compared with me. The present only touches thee, but och, I'm backward cast my ee on prospects drear, and forward though I canna see, I guess and fear.
Is there for honest poverty that hangs his head and all that? The coward slave, we pass him by, he dare be poor and all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that, the rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the geld for all that. What though on Hamley fair we dine, we're hot and grey and all that, ye fools their silks and knaves their wine, a man's a man and all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that, the honest man though e'er say poor, our king of men for all that. A prince can mack a belted knight, a marquis duke and all that, but an honest man aboot his might, good faith he wonna for that. For all that and all that, the dignities and all that, the pith is sense or pride or worth, a higher rank than all that. Then let us pray that come it may and come it will, for all that the sense and worth o'er all the earth shall bear the grief and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that. The man to man the world o'er shall brothers be for all that.
Thank you for joining us for this month's Sounds from Scotland. To get more information, please go to our website, americanscottishfoundation.org. And to close out, let's hear the wonderful rendition of My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose from Sophie Craig.
A fond kiss, and then we severed. If it will last forever, deep in heart run tears have pledged thee where